playoff standings. S9 as well, they're on a pretty significant loss streak here, so would love to finally put a stop to that.
Absolutely, as we see DCG going for a 5-man in the bottom lane. In the contrary, we see Carriers up top there with Camille.
Some kind of interesting runes in the mid lane here. We've seen a variety of things from the Gragas, right? The Comet, the Phase Rush, the First Strike. It's going Comet just for more of that lane pressure. And I think also very, very strange Comet out of Veigar. So you can go Comet on Veigar in some matchups, right, to kind of be a bit stronger early. Doesn't really make sense up against the Gragas, who has so much sustain. Would much prefer a Spellbook or a First Strike here. And Hana, he's looking like he's going to start topside, and on the opposite side, Fia starting bot. So going to be mirrored, or sorry, opposite pass again. Really looking for something.
Does definitely leave the bot lane a lot more vulnerable with Wukong pathing down there. Is Raleigh going to come and spot out the start? It doesn't look like it. He is just going to return to that lane. Fia starting leashless on this blue.
Yeah, so a little bit of vision placed by both sides in the top side, but I don't think we'll get confirmation that the teams will know where the junglers are, at least for a little bit, until their paths are kind of revealed as they move around the map. And I wonder, you know, Fia, he is playing away from this pike lane. Maybe feels that he needs to go top. Hold on, big trade.
Yeah, Cascada does get hooked. He's low. Igniter's used. Heal's used. He's 1 HP. Kyrus has looked in. He will have that hook up in a moment, but he does survive. Ashe on the backside, off screen, does pick up the kill onto Xayah. This looks terrible here for S9.
Yeah,
Kyrus should be able to get away.
I think he's out, but yeah, I mean, disaster there for S9, right? They were so close to getting that kill, but it doesn't quite go over, and that's, I mean, yeah, it can't be understated how big a deal that is. Let's take a look at the replays. So I'm assuming it was just a random pike hook that hits onto Cascada. Is that what happened? Yeah, okay, so they get a lot of damage on a Cascada early, but just a lot of damage coming out of the Hail of Blades Ashe, right, early on in this lane, and I think YGY, he gets very low, doesn't quite back out in time. The flash is matched. Yeah, YGY just gets taken out by Ashe. Look how much damage she does early. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, big lead there for DCG's bot lane.
Yeah, and while often you do not, I mean, obviously you don't want to give up first blood in any case, but while you would rather it be on a support in most cases, I feel like Ashe has so much control over the lane she's in if she gets ahead that it's going to be really hard for sort of the Xayah, who is quite short range, given she can sort of farm with her feathers. It's going to be hard for her to ever sort of be aggressive in this lane. And that tells me maybe we're going to see Pyke roam out of here a bit more.
Possibly, yeah. Like, there's definitely the point where you get in your bot matchup where it's like, okay, there's no point really being here anymore. And they don't have the best dive, right? Like, Ezreal, Ashe, especially before 6, don't really have a whole lot of pressure at actually diving. But perhaps the sums can still be punished, right? It's 4 flashes down in the bot lane, so both junglers have to be looking at that and be like, okay, potentially a gank or a counter gank opportunity could be on the table.
Absolutely, as Vi finishes her clear up here at the top scuttle. Both top laners happy here just farming away, as we do see sort of some health being traded bot.
Yeah, okay, so pretty much, okay, now we see Fia actually walking directly bot out of base. So it doesn't have any camps to farm and really wants to be here. We actually see another pause coming through. The pause championship series continues. Or doesn't, actually. It does not.
Yeah, the 4th one. Where do you think you look here, though? What do you think the game plan is? You've gotten behind bot lane at this stage. You're 600 gold behind overall. I think that is probably just mainly from the bot lane. Obviously, a kill, first blood, plus assist, 600 gold. Yeah. Do you think you start looking... Because Veigar doesn't have the worst gank setup, given Gragas can kind of just body slam away from it. But where do you think you go from here? Because I think it would be good probably now. Yeah, I mean, Xayah, one of the safer AD carries, sort of to sit under her tower. Even at level 6, you do get that sort of enchanted crystal arrow, but she does have Feather Storm to counter it. Kind of hard to sort of dive the Xayah. I feel like putting some resources into following up in ganks as we do get back into game. But yeah, following the Vi around, maybe getting some pressure that way, I think might help a lot.
It could, but without Relia being level 6, it's difficult to gang. Although Fia is perhaps looking for something bot. Sweeps out. Hana as well is on his way straight bot. So both junglers knowing this is an important window to be aware of, especially with all these flashes down. And I think the window is probably passed. I think Fia might just need to leave, although it's actually snuck into this bush.
Yeah, really good use of vision there. There's no way that DCG can expect this, really. And if Char goes up for an aggressive trade, she does. Gets hit by the knock-up. Will be going down. Hook lands onto Cascada, but good channeling of that E.
That was a really nice play there from Fia, and I think it was very close to that window being completely closed, right? Hana was on his way, but Char just a bit too aggressive and not respecting the lane gank is punished for it. And it is the Vi that picks up the kill, which is perhaps, again, not the best in terms of the long term, but will help them, you know, obviously be a bit stronger for these early plays that they can make with Vi and Camille. So it's definitely not, it's not a bad pickup by any means.
Absolutely. It makes it a lot harder here for Hanabi to sort of survive that level 6 gank potential from the Vi Camille, as Columbia is very low and out of mana here, so we'll recall and teleport back, but so far mid lane is favouring that Gragas.
Kind of expected. I think Gragas in the early game is a lot stronger with that poke. I have to see, will both mids just go for the Roa or not? Because I think sometimes Veigar, you know, can opt for other stuff, although it might just need the Catalyst to lane up against the Gragas. We'll have to see. Top lane as well. Rel here will be 6, I think, after this wave, and that's when it starts to be scary for Hanabi. It's the 6 now, actually. Especially with Fia pathing up top. You have to remember he's very, very gankable.
And they should know that because of that sort of bot gank he did, they should know he's going to probably go up towards top lane. So Hanabi should be playing to suit that, as we do see a disconnect, but an immediate reconnect, so we shouldn't be paused for too long.
I hope not. Looks like we will get back into this game fairly shortly, I would think, but perhaps just want to check that there's no lag or anything coming in before they start it back up. I think, yeah, both mids now, they've TP'd back to the lane. ST, he's a bit sleepy on the Gragas. Probably is pretty boring, just throwing Q on cooldown, honestly. It's not a very interactive lane.
Copping a couple of pauses too.
You get that on the big jobs.
Yeah, and it was good. I think that Vi usage of the vision was incredibly impressive, right? Like how you had to sneak into that bush. If he clicks wrong at all, he's getting seen and that gank doesn't pay out. So very good of him to get that. Maybe would have preferred it on the Xayah, as we are heading back into game. And keep an eye on Fia, as is headed towards top, and this wave is pushing towards Relia. So Nah potentially quite vulnerable here, but Fia does look like he's just going to back.
Yeah, he's going to base again. Riscado, he has the E.
Nice hook landed, a little bit of poke, and forces out that E of Ezreal.
Yeah, I don't think can be punished at least yet. Fia will be pathing back onto bot side. And there's a lot of vision in this bot river here for the side of S9. DCG are going to try to take some of that back. Fia though, he's around. The scuttle's going to be contested. Columbia shows.
A lot of presence here. Nice clone to escape that box, as it looks like it might not be over here. Nesty got a nice flank. Has to be very careful as Fia, possibly looking for just the flash. Does flash over to that blue wall. And Scuttle Crab will be gained here by Hana.
Yeah, DCG, they have a lot of priority in both mid and bot right now, so it is a bit easier for them to play around. Also starting to lose some of this bot side control is the side of S9, so perhaps the Dragon will end up going over. Same time though, Fia's in the wings. He could maybe gank bot lane. They have sums up this time though.
Yeah, YJW also has lost quite a bit of health. Potion ticking away. He does also have 2 cookies if he chooses to use them. They also should know the dragon has started because of that ward there in the back of the dragon pit.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to go down. I think the mid priority is just a bit too much at the moment. Just want to try and buy a bit more time for your Veigar and Camille to scale. I'm actually surprised that this wasn't just traded away for some sort of top gank, because it feels like if you can accelerate Rel here, that definitely puts the game in a spot that is more favorable. But honestly, 8 minutes in, S9 not doing too bad for themselves, right? The game's even. They give up a drag, but I think that's fine with your scaling comp. So definitely good signs. Now DCG, they haven't really shown us before the strongest early game. I think it's really those mid-game team fights where as a team, they tend to come more online. But at the same time, S9, they've really had some games where they've just lost very early on, but remaining stable, at least for now.
Absolutely, and that's like kind of important with their comp, right? Xayah, very, very high, good scaler, and I would say, currently scales better than the Ezreal, as well as Veigar obviously infinitely scaling into the game, and as this game continues, I do favour the Camille into the Gnar as well. Obviously, in an isolated 1v1, I think Gnar in a team fight will be a lot stronger. But in those side lanes, definitely Relia should be edging out in these 1v1s as the game progresses.
Something kind of interesting here, perhaps going for more of the early game, is Nesty picks up the alternator. So going either towards the Night Harvester or the Proto Belt, which is, yeah, kind of just continues to play towards that narrative, right, of this DCG composition. Wants to play for the stronger early game, perhaps, you know, want to make sure this game ends before the scaling comes in from the side of S9.
We did also see Night Harvester yesterday on the Gragas. However, it was paired with Dark Harvest instead of the Arcane Comet, so we'll see if that has any effect. As Cyclone is used, Rally is extremely low. Double knock-up here from Nesty. Rally will escape with his... Hanabi flashes forward. So does Rally. It flashes away. Hanabi is almost going to get it.
Ooh.
Massive arrow into the mid lane, but Kyrie's here trying to protect Calumnia. Looks like a kill, and the Herald will go over to the side of DCG, and very well played by them. That shot them up. They were only 200 gold ahead, and now they are up 1.2k.
I think that's a pretty big win. So let's take a look at the replay. I think the reason this is so important is because the support was brought up by S9, but the initial engage from DCG is just so destructive, and Calumnia, you know, without the mid-prior, is always going to end up with this fight late. Does what he can to get Relia out, but you have to feel when you're bringing 4 people towards that Herald and it's a 4v3 and you end up losing, definitely doesn't feel right. Calumnia is looking bot, but all the sums are up.
Yeah, he is looking bottom. Israel does still have Arcane Shift. He has used it, and Flash is used. Hook will not connect, and Box used more to disengage than anything else.
I'm surprised that Calumnia just didn't keep going for Cruscata. They saw the E and the Flash used, but then decided to move the E towards Ashe instead. I feel like when you're ganking bot, killing the ADC is so much more important than the supports. So, while sure, your Cage ended up getting Char's Flash out as well, I really think they could have picked up a kill onto Cruscata's Ezreal there.
Yeah, and we are looking at top right now. Relia is falling a little bit behind in CS to this Gnar and getting poked under tower as we see, but as Mega Gnar comes in, the ability to do that sort of goes away. Daya is insta-clearing. We do see 3 people coming up towards this top.
Yeah, has the Camilo and also no flash on Hanabi. It's almost a guaranteed kill if they can get onto him.
Hanabi will respect it though.
Yeah, Camilo isn't quite up actually, so perhaps don't want to make that play just yet. Mid lane does remain fairly even.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow will miss.
I think while Calumnia has managed to stay even in terms of CS, certainly Nesty's priority has turned into, you know, a little bit of an early lead here. But it's not something, it's definitely not at that point where it's insurmountable, right? We've kind of said that before around the 3 or 4k gold lead being hard to come back from. I think this is certainly fine here for the side of S9, having so much scaling.
Absolutely, yeah. They are definitely the better scaling comp, and also with the Pyke on your team, you can kind of like have one team fight win, and that's going to slingshot your gold so much just because of the nature of Pyke ult. As we do see explosive cast land onto Calumnia, Hana does dodge out for the stun and will just go claim that kill. So another kill there onto, well, the first kill onto Calumnia, but another kill for DCG. And now Calumnia's going to lose some waves, and that's going to stunt his ability to scale. As we see Fia coming in, does get the ult, no flash on Cruscata, and he will go down to Fia. So another kill onto Fia. Enchanted Crystal Arrow stopping Fia, but he will get on. Hana coming down as well.
Yeah, okay, nice trade back there from S9. Cruscata just exploded, and I think it's a decent enough trade back, right? Another kill going on to Fia's Vi isn't exactly where you'd want it, but shutting down Cruscata from farming definitely feels good. And on that mid gank, I actually think Calumnia probably could have survived if he'd flashed a little bit earlier, but decides to hold it and does end up going over. He's actually going for the Everfrost, so not going for the likes of, you know, perhaps a Crown or a Rod of Ages, trying to guarantee the cage, which I feel like kind of makes sense for some of these range champs, but at the same time does leave you a little more vulnerable in this early game.
Absolutely, yeah, and I do like the itemization out of Fia here. With having 4 AD threats on his team, he's gone for the Black Cleaver first. Vi, one of those sort of champions that can opt out of getting a early mythic and get something more team orientated. So I do like this pick. We often see things like the is it the Kimpunk Chainsword, I believe it's called, but going for the Black Cleaver, I do like it.
I think it's good as well, yeah. Makes a lot of sense, especially because there should be a lot of armor coming through, right? Probably the Zhonya's on the Gragas, as well as Wukong naturally has a lot of armor. Now the Herald does go down bot. It's already pretty low on plate, so I don't think this will quite kill it, but it is going to get low. And perhaps the DCG's double range bot lane can look to pick it up.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they'll get it. Maybe just using it to get those tower plates. We saw it come in at about 13:59, so it was a very, very close call, but I believe they did pick up those plates.
Yeah, it looks like they got 4 bot plates, actually, so a lot of turret gold here for the side of DCG. And Night Harvester is picked up on Nesty's Gragas.
So it is the Night Harvester, not with Dark Harvest this time instead of the Comet, so won't have as much of a high level of execution, and that Enchanted Crystal Arrow was so close to landing. Actually does land on Fia in the base. A few missing pings go down.
It's always annoying. It's like it's a modern day Hawk shot if you think about it. But now DCG, they know Fia's topside, right, so can potentially break this tower. Although at the same time, Nesty's coming down.
They're looking on Nesty here. Does land the ult on him. We see Kira's coming across. Nesty flash body slams away. Hook will land. Massive explosive cast. Not an execute range, but will be picked up eventually by Calumnia. And you do love that kill going over to Veigar.
The kill on Veigar is very, very nice. Also, Nesty had to invest quite a lot there, right? Had to flash out as well. The tower is picked up by DCG, which does kind of catapult them to that initial gold lead. But you have to say it was pretty inevitable, right? After the Herald, it was going to go down eventually. So DCG, they do find themselves starting to get ahead, right? They have that 3,000 gold lead. Some of it just in the CS leads, as well as just a lot of that turret and plate gold.
Yeah, and now with Camille finishing that Divine Sunder, you start to really feel a lot more comfortable in that lane. With how the Q interacts with that item, you get quite a lot of healing and a massive amount of true damage done through it. As we do see 3 people headed up towards Hanabi, he has to be very careful here. Does go Mega, will leap away, so he does have Flash still, so he should be safe. Fia just clearing a ward. Kira's getting some of those stacks in for the gold.
I am very surprised that Hanabi hasn't been ganked a single time. I feel like at this point is much more difficult, but I feel like an early game level 6 Gnar is very vulnerable to the Camille Vi, so kind of strange that no pressure was put up towards there. It is the Herald, though, that will most likely be picked up here by DCG, although Keres, he's around. He's picked up.
You do have to be careful funneling into areas like that. It's a lot easier for the Ashe to land that stun. A lot of follow-up there on the side of DCG as well, so good for Kyrus to identify. It wasn't the play to go for. As we do see an engage mid. YJY getting low. Actually, Gale forces forward onto Chu. Chu will go down to Vi here. Vi explosive cast and then body slammed under tower, but will get away safely using Flash.
Wow, I mean, the nice kill there onto Char also burned both of his subs. Fia did invest the flash, but you have to say, is worth it? Probably is. Keres has to flash away too. I mean, it's a nice kill, right? And getting the sums is good. At the same time, doesn't lead to any more objectives. Hana is going to take a lot of damage. Really nice cage position there from Calumnia.
Yeah, Calumnia getting a lot of damage down. And I do notice a Ruby Crystal in his inventory.
Oh no.
So I have a bad feeling here, Shock.
Not another terrible Veigar build. Can the tower be saved? It cannot. Dragon will be coming up in a minute, and look, I don't want to flame the Veigar builds, but you really need to get this rabbit on. At least this game, though, won't need the Void. But let's take a look at the replays. So Char, he finds the arrow, and they try and take a little bit of damage here. Walks into the cage, though, and then it's just engaged on pretty much across the map. And the fact they use both sums, it still dies, is pretty bad. At least from the other side, 2 flashes were burned. I think 1 flash, actually, and 1 heal was burned.
And right there, we did see also the power of that Veigar cage, right? Like, they did land that Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto YJY, which is their priority target. You'd want to land it then, but immediately the cage gets put down and sort of stops DCG from being able to do anything there. There was not really a way to follow up, maybe an explosive cast, but even then you do risk getting hit by an Everfrost and bursted down. So yeah, great usage of the cage there to save YJY, and fantastic kill on the Char afterwards.
Dragon here, though, in 15 seconds. And top matchup, it's been pretty quiet, right? But perhaps can look for a trade. They've got 3 members up here on S9. Looks like they're actually going to give up the Dragon and try break top instead, which I kind of like, right? I think when you're starting to fall behind, the Dragons here, the drag win condition is still a long time away. You can perhaps look to get that gold injection by taking down Hanabi, who hasn't walked super far away from the tower and could actually be in danger here. Looks like he's going to get his reset off, though. Ooh,
he
actually
cancels?
cancels it. Nesty has TP, but this is a little risky here from Hanabi.
So we have Kyrie's here blocking off the escape. Fia is right there, and we want to look. Relia has gone for it. A teleport comes in from Nesty. Relia's in a lot of trouble. A cross-map arrow hits. Kyrie's explosive cast into tower, but will escape with his life for now. But Relia in a curious position will go down. Actually solo killed there by the Gnar.
I think S9 took way too long to make that play, and also just the globals coming out, right? The TP from Gragas as well as the ult from Char's Ashe actually just ended up making the difference. And it always feels really bad if not only do you not get the objective, but you also can't get a successful cross map.
Yeah, and I guess we're seeing like one of Camille's biggest weaknesses, sort of the wave clear, right? And all they were doing, they were sitting there with their 3 members waiting for that wave to hit, and it just took Relia too long to be able to clear that. As we do see Kira staying here behind, we might be seeing a bit of an initiation here. Fia has gone in, lands the knock-up, will ult. Black Cleaver's procced. He hits the 3rd. Nice flash body slam. Low health bars. A flash from Calumnia was definitely not necessary, but Fia picks up his 4th kill of the game. A lot of gold going on to this Vi.
He has got a lot of gold, but also doing just a lot of damage. YJY is engaged on, but has all the sums.
Yeah, Cyclone used, but Featherstorm in return. YJY will escape with his life, but very nice trade onto the health, and we might just see the mid inner go down here.
YJY, I think, kind of crazy to stay here on low HP. I guess wants to grab the wave, but certainly can't do anything for now. And once again, members up towards Hanabi on the top side, but has found himself, once again with that lead, right? Despite the fact that there have been members in his lane several times. Has a bit of a CS lead here. Now we'll sweep out some of this vision in the river. Calumnia, he's still looking for something. Has the Everfrost and the cage. So a lot of CC, but it doesn't look like Hanabi's going to fall for the bait.
Importantly, he also doesn't have flash. He did try flash to secure that last kill they got onto Nesty, but unfortunately, it was already picked up by Fia. And
it's the Kindle Gem coming through from Vega, so definitely confirming the Seraph second. Now, Calumnia has been up here for a very long time. I mean, hasn't farmed, I feel like, in the last couple minutes, which I think is normally pretty bad for Vega. Oh, Char.
Yeah, well, look, Chris Carter is hit by the hook. Fia is there, and that's who you want to look to. That's all the damage. It will be Cascada going down. 400 more gold onto Fia as Kyrie's is eliminated. Hana takes that kill as well. Both junglers getting quite fed in this game.
Yeah, Fia sitting at 5-1. I mean, has been a pretty destructive force across on the Rift. I feel like you kind of would prefer if the kills were going elsewhere. At the same time, he has done a pretty good job with it. And Char trying to solo defend this tower. Could be in trouble here.
Yeah, Char looks like he's in a lot of trouble. He does have the flash barrier, will escape. Fia obviously not having that ult to follow up. As Hana gets a nice flank, and in come Nesty as well. Does not quite hit, and the explosive barrel does kind of hit them away. Fia getting targeted down. It's a massive shutdown if they can get it. Slowed. Will Q out, and Calumnia here. Uses the primordial burst, I believe, on the clone, but will pick up the kill anyway, and that's great to get onto YJY.
Yeah, I think actually pretty good outcome for S9 considering how far up in the lane they were, right? We're very far up and then just got TP flanked. I feel like the combo coming out of Nesty perhaps wasn't the best. Didn't have that flash available though, which made it a little more difficult. And the gold lead, I mean, it remains relatively stable. I actually think S9 have a fairly good shot at this game. Have a lot of scaling. Have gotten through what is a fairly troublesome early game. And I think honestly, it's up to Hanabi, I feel like, to continue to put this game in a good spot for DCG, because otherwise, I think S9, they actually have a real shot here.
Absolutely, and I feel like S9, though, really are forced to only be able to fight where Fia is. A lot of their gold that's keeping them in this is on him, and he has picked up the Radiant Virtue, and with his lead, I'm not sure that I mean, obviously it's a very strong item and it helps his team a lot, but with his lead, you could have gone something more damaging, potentially the Divine Sunderer. Does opt to help the team here. We'll see how it pans out, but with a lot of that gold going to that, he has become a little bit weaker than you'd perhaps suspect.
Looks like Hanabi will finally be forced off this top tier 1. Dragon's in only 40 more seconds, and I think the side of S9 probably should feel scaled enough now that they want to contest this. At the same time, it looks like they're still looking towards top side, so perhaps want to give over that third drag for a kill onto Hanabi and collect that shutdown.
Yeah, we do see the ult used here. Teleport will come in from Nesty. Stunned up, and Pyke... No, Pyke does not get it. Instead, it goes towards that Veigar, sorry, and Nesty follows up. Massive explosive cast there landed onto the Pyke and does pick up that kill.
It's a 1-for-1, but I think it way advantages S9, right? Was a 2k gold deficit, now only down 1k. Perhaps most importantly, you know, it's the shutdown picked up by Calumnia on the Veigar, as well as I believe the Pyke ult gold actually went through as well. So just so much gold there picked up. Can they contest the Dragon? I feel like probably not. There's just too much control here for DCG. But if you are giving up the third drag, I feel like that was about as worth it as you could get.
Absolutely, and with the Cloud Drake being this, being this soul, it's not sort of as powerful as a lot of other dragons, given you do get a lot of sort of value out of it being being Wukong. But potentially just wanting to focus, get these carries ahead, maybe focus at trying to get that Baron and getting some towers down before this fourth dragon, where they might look to fight. Because you do have a lot of scaling, so something to fall back on, even though you are down to that third dragon. So I don't mind the decision as long as they use this sort of time to gain an advantage, gain some items on that Veigar. It does look like the next item will be that Rabadon's, which is a huge power spike.
Once he hits that Rabadon's, it will be, you know, hitting that 1v9 potential. And I think probably, I'm not sure if he can get it in this time for the next drag, but definitely is already strong, right? It has got a fairly sizable amount of AP here. And getting that shutdown really accelerated him so much. And you kind of see a lot of pressure put towards Hanabi, and honestly really nice from S9 to look for those trades rather than continue to go for those team fights where they were perhaps a bit weaker. But now I think have to feel like they can team fight, and honestly are probably favored. Members are moving up here from the side of DCG. They're looking for Calumnia, who has the flash.
Yeah, Calumnia possibly caught a bit out of position. He does have that tower, although it's very low. Does flash away from that enchanted crystal arrows. Fia is coming to the rescue. Wukong is going to be hit by the Vial, followed by the hook. Hana flashes away, and massive execute there by Keres. Fia back in the middle of four members. Great ult by the the Camille. Na landing a one-man YJY on the back end. Keres looking here to get another 2 kills potentially.
Well, they're very, very low. Baron's actually doing a lot of damage here too.
And look out for this Camille. Can close a lot of distance. Does get onto Char, and another kill picked up here by Keres on the Pyke. So Baron will be going down to S9.
It will, and I would honestly say S9 are massively favored now to win this game. They have the outscaling comp, they secure the Baron, and should now also perhaps even complete the Rabadons on the Veigar. Oh, it doesn't quite have it, but probably will have it in time for this next dragon. And I think S9, it's in their hands, right? They have to kind of throw it. So let's take a look at the replay. I think Calumnia, you know, nice flash actually. If it died here, would have been very bad. But then the kind of counter-engage comes through, and Hana is caught way out of position. I also want you to kind of direct your eyes towards Calumnia, right? Because he deals a lot of damage over this wall, and then finds a really nice cage, which zones out the DCG backline. And they can't actually follow up on the engage out of Hanabi. Cruscata just gets killed by Calumnia, and there's no damage to follow the frontline engage. And from then on, S9, they just kind of sweep through, end up cleaning up everyone else. So Calumnia, I think, you know, played the initial part of that fight, you know, very, very well.
He certainly did.
Now, 2 minutes. I mean, yeah, look at the damage. Honestly, just the side of S9, they look like they're kind of outscaled, right? They're just in a really, really good spot here. Veigar has 652 AP before even picking up the Rabadons, which is a pretty nice spot to be in. And only 2 minutes on the next drag. How much can they get done with the Baron? Ooh,
no flash on Veigar. He will be hit by the arrow and then the cask. He is going to go down. That's a massive shutdown. 350 gold over to the Ezreal.
Okay, so it's obviously a nice pickup. Can they get more?
Oh, good sort of buffer there. And Hana doesn't make the clone over the wall, unfortunately. Nesty is still trying to follow. Obviously, Keres looks a little bit out of position, although is very fast. Might just be able to do Pyke things and get away. Looks like he will.
I think he does get out. Okay, so Calumnia going down means that the Baron from S9 will be pretty neutralized. That being said, I still think they're in the winning position. While they didn't get as much there as they'd like, they should still be favored at this fourth drag. They have Rabadons on the Veigar now, and are definitely in control to win this game. Calumnia as well probably won't have flash for this fight. Have a look at the gold difference. You know, was that kind of 2k lead there that we had for DCG, but it's now starting to go back the other way.
That's right, and importantly, YJY picking up that Bloodthirster. So going to give him, you know, Ash has a little bit of poke, Ezreal a little bit of poke, so a lot more survivability against those, as well as in a team fight. You sort of accidentally catch the cask from Gragas, you'll be able to heal back up off that, and yeah, I like this. Third item Bloodthirster here for YJY.
There's a lot of people grouping mid. Clumney still does not have the flash. Ooh, almost connects the cage. 20 more seconds, arrow comes through.
Will land here onto YJY, does get the massive explosive cast, gets the Feather Storm out, but you have to feel like he is just dead to Ezreal. Rally now in the middle of 5, will go down as well, and it just has to be Dragon Soul given over to DCG.
It really is, and S9, we said it's their game to win, but they are doing a great job of throwing it right now. I feel like there was so many ways for YJY not to die there. I think one of his other teammates could have blocked it for him. I feel like if Fear gets hit by it, it's completely fine. Alternatively, could even flash the Ashe ult. I mean, this is 2 times in a row now where Char has found the engage just by throwing out the Ashe ult, and nothing is done about it. Game paused once again. I mean, S9, I don't see how you can lose this game, but just being caught out over and over.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. YJY has the Feather Storm up at that time. And honestly, I mean, it is a huge summoner to lose. But it's better than dying. You don't really... Although it is just a Cloud Dragon, I mean, Cloud Dragon is, you know, it is an important thing and it does help your team a lot. But even though, I mean, you just lost it because you didn't use your ult. And I feel like even without his ult, they have so much power, they can possibly win regardless. So it's better to just not die.
I think you're right. Even if he ults, I think the Vega cage can honestly keep him safe from what is really just going to be the Gnar after that, right? So I think a lot of greed from S9, and I think those 2 carries dying back-to-back there of Clumnir dying, that means your Baron's gone. YGY dying, now the Soul is gone. It's really... The game is so won here for S9, but they're just not quite able to execute as well as they'd like. And this will be DCG clawing themselves back into this game.
Absolutely. We do see the Baron timer coming up in 2.5 minutes, so I suspect we're just going to see Gnar sort of whittle away at the bot. He might recall here, but get some pressure in that side lane, set up around the Baron, because DCG, honestly, they have... I mean, I don't even know who's favored at this stage of the game, right? Xayah is extremely strong right now. Vega just picked up his Rabadon, so he is massive. But from how we've seen the team fighting, it just looks like DCG are probably going to find a way to win this one, even though I don't feel like they should.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the S9, as long as they play even reasonably well, should just pick up the win. But honestly, they have made some very big mistakes back-to-back. 910 AP here on the Vega. I mean, it's so strong and has the flash. I feel, yeah, you're right. It's still S9's game to win, but DCG, they are, like, especially Char, right, with the Ashe arrows, it's finding the angle over and over. If they can find, you know, 1 more of those and end up picking up the Elder, DCG could perhaps, you know, sneak away this win.
Does look towards Relia, but it won't hit, so that's very lucky.
Okay, now, no Elder for a while. The Dragon will be spawning in a minute. I think there's a lot of DPS here, especially from the side of S9. Can end up blowing up that Baron in pretty much no time at all.
And you have to feel as long as the Baron is used correctly, it's going to make it very hard for whatever team does not get that Baron to fight at the Elder Dragon.
I think you're right. Now, a lot of members grouping around mid. Will there be anything done from here? I think kind of maybe just want to set up for some of that Baron vision, and perhaps also just want to be grouped to make sure no engage can come out, right? There are a lot of members. All 10 members will be grouped up around mid. There is no flash on YJY.
Oh my, they just comboed their ults to look the same. It does land, and they do get the pick on Fear, who a lot of the gold is on. Rally are now knocked up as well, will get killed also. The Hanabi flashes forward, lands a massive Gnar onto YJY, who yet again didn't Feather Storm. And now we're going to see Keres go down, and I think this could just be the game.
I think it might be over. I think once Keres showed on the side, not grouped up with the team, DCG just immediately pulled the trigger. Char, once again, finds the Ashe ult for the engage. I think just not enough respect, right? S9 too far up with their support showing somewhere else. And DCG, I don't think they should have won this game. But they are going to pick up, I would say, honestly, a much-needed win over S9W. It looks like the Nexus will finally fall, so credit to Char, especially on the Ashe, who found those arrows over and over. But S9, I mean, they really just, well, they clutched defeat from the jaws of victory. They really should have won that game.
Yeah, no, they looked in such a commanding position. Everything seemed to be going so well. Honestly, Calumnia had some amazing sort of cages in those fights. And then it just all went pear-shaped. Like we saw YJY die twice in a row there without... Well, he did use his ult before the second last one, but it's too little too late. He didn't use it at all in that last fight there. So just a lot of mechanical misplays that led to the defeat there, I think.
It's a combination, right? I think sure, you can play those situations mechanically better, but also it feels like consistently too far up without the members to really back them up, right? The first initial death for Calumnia, pushing that bot wave alone, no members around, is caught out by the Ashe. Then YJY, perhaps a mechanical misplay there. I can